I think the Bengals should draft Jeremiyah Love at pick 10. There are 3 really strong reasons as to why that makes sense. The first one has to do with the math of how defenses play Cincinnati. The second one is about roster economics. And the third one might actually be the most important, because it could help extend the career of Joe Burrow. But before we get into those 3 reasons, we need to talk about something the Bengals offense struggled with last season: explosive plays. Explosive plays are the lifeblood of modern NFL offenses. Runs of 10 plus yards, passes of 20 plus yards. Those are the plays that flip field position and completely change defensive behavior. But last season, the Bengals struggled in that category. And a big part of that reason comes down to how defenses chose to play them. Defenses played a lot of too high safety shells. That means both safeties stay deep. The goal is simple: take away explosive passes. Force the offense to run the football. And when you're facing an offense with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, defenses are perfectly happy sitting in that structure. Because if the run game can't punish light boxes, there's no reason to change. And that leads us to the first reason why Jeremiyah Love makes sense at pick 10 for the Bengals. So first, we're going to talk about the math of football. Football is really about numbers. How many defenders are in the box? How many blockers an offense has to account for them? If the defense only has 6 defenders in the box and the offense has 6 blockers, the offense should win that play. That's the math. But if defenses don't respect your running back, they just don't have to commit extra defenders. They can keep safeties deep, they can squeeze passing lanes, and they can force your offense to operate in small chunks. Essentially what the Bengals have had to do on offense. Now imagine introducing a running back that can rip off explosive plays on the regular. Suddenly, those light boxes become dangerous. Safeties start creeping down, and the moment safeties creep down, the passing game opens back up. That's what a player like Jeremiyah Love brings to the table. On film, 3 things stand out immediately. First, his burst through the line. Once he sees a crease, he gets through the hole extremely quick. Second, his home run speed. Once he reaches the second level, a 12-yard run can suddenly turn into a 50-yard run. And third, his vision. He presses the line, lets blocks develop, and makes decisive cuts. Those traits make him exactly the type of back who can punish defenses playing light boxes. Now let's talk about reason 2. Roster economics. We're going to talk about the other argument fans bring up. And you would say, don't the Bengals already have Chase Brown? And the answer is yes. Chase Brown's a great player. He's explosive, and he fits the offense well. But there are 2 realities here. The first is play style. Brown is a speed back. He's dangerous in space, but he's not built to consistently punish defenses between the tackles. The second reality is contract economics. Chase Brown's going to need a new contract soon. And if he continues producing, that deal could land anywhere between $6 to $8 million per year. Now compare that to Jeremiyah Love at pick 10. Love on a rookie deal would cost approximately $4 to $5 million for the first 4 seasons, which means you're potentially getting an elite explosive running back at a lower cost, all with the rest of your offense making elite money. Now let's move on to our third reason: protecting Joe Burrow. And this third reason might be the most important: protecting the long-term health of Joe Burrow. If you want Burrow playing at a high level for the next 10 years, you're going to need to help him. And that doesn't just mean offensive line play like everybody says every single year. It means offensive balance. A dangerous run game creates fewer obvious passing downs. Fewer obvious passing downs means less hits on your quarterback, and that adds shelf life to the most important player in your organization. Now, there's another element here that fans would understand immediately: closing football games. When you have a lead in the 4th quarter, great teams run the football. They control the clock, they wear defenses down, and the Bengals consistently haven't had that element in their offense. Physical, explosive running back gives you that option. When you're protecting a lead late in a game, you can lean on the run and finish the job. Now, one instance of this I can give you right off the top is, if you go back to 2 seasons ago, last game of the year against the Steelers, Bengals had the lead with 2 minutes left to go in the 4th quarter, and we lined up in shotgun, and we threw the ball 3 times, 3 and out, and we gave the ball back to the Steelers. Now, if it wasn't for Trey Hendrickson on that drive finishing the Steelers' offense off, we probably would have lost that game. That's how big it is. That's why closing games out running the ball is important. Now, what does this mean for free agency? Now, if the Bengals are going to take a running back at pick 10, that means that free agency has to focus heavily on defense. That's the trade-off. You would need to address the defensive line and pass rush through veteran additions: interior defensive linemen, edge rushers who can generate pressure, players who can help stabilize the defense immediately. Because if the Bengals can improve the defense through free agency alone and add an explosive playmaker like Jeremiyah Love to their offense in the 1st round, you're strengthening both sides of the roster. Now, here's a final thought. Jeremiyah Love wouldn't just be another running back in the Bengals offense. He could be the player that changes the math. Light boxes become dangerous. Safeties start creeping down. And the moment that happens, the Bengals passing game becomes even more explosive. So the question becomes simple. Should the Bengals draft Jeremiyah Love at pick 10 if he falls? Or should they stay status quo and go with a defensive player? Maybe a safety like Caleb Downs if he's there. Would love to get a guy like Sonny Styles, but I doubt he falls that far. Or are we taking Peter Woods, the defensive tackle out of Clemson? Let me know what you guys think. And if you like the content, give me a like, subscribe to the channel. There'll be plenty more where that came from. And as always, Hoo Day.